So, rumor has it that you signed up to be a Breathe Buddy at Breathe at Fellowship Bible Church. So, thanks. You're going to have a lot of fun, and I wanted to tell you a little bit more about Breathe. If you can just hang with me for about 8 or 10 minutes, I'll tell you everything you need to know. I'm Rebecca Hamilton, and I'm a volunteer at Breathe, and I wanted to just give you a vision for who we serve at Breathe and for the kind of service that we provide. We want to provide really high quality time away for parents who have kids with special needs. The kids that we serve at Breathe have all kinds of disabilities: cognitive, behavioral, developmental, things like autism, ADHD, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, really anything you can think of that would require that a child need care, a special level of care beyond what a typical babysitter could provide, and where parents of that child could really use some meaningful time away. It's very hard to find a babysitter for the families that we serve at Breathe. They can't just call the babysitter down the block and ask them because their kids are really more involved than that. So it becomes a real challenge for them to find great quality care. There's a really high stress on the families that we serve as well. They have a very high emotional strain. They have physical drain because they're so tired from caring for their children. There's a financial burden because the therapies that their kids require are very expensive. And we do know that the divorce rate for these families can be anywhere between 80–85% or even upwards of there. We know that it's a real strain for families to have a child who has special needs like this. And we want to serve these families because it's biblical. When Christ said, "Make disciples of all people," he didn't mean just the ones who could sit quietly and fold their hands in their lap. He meant all of them, even the ones who might bite or run away or kick. He meant all of those kids, and we really take that seriously at Fellowship. We hope you do too. Our goal is really to show Christ's love to these families with our actions, but without preaching to them or discussing the gospel in any outward way. We want to show them through our service to them what it means to be a follower of Christ. We want to pray for our guests. But we do not want to pray over them or with them while they're here. You have to understand that the families who come to Breathe may be practicing Christians, but they may not practice any faith at all, and they may even be practicing a different faith tradition, and that's all okay with us. Breathe is intended to be an outreach into the community, and we want to meet families exactly where they are, and that means regardless of what faith tradition or any faith tradition that they might be practicing. So we want to pray for our kids, but not with them or over them while they're there. We really want to serve families because Christ called us to serve. It would be a bonus if these families came to Christ or were saved because of our service to them, but that's not why we do it. We do it because we're Christian, and that's what Christ called us to do. So to form relationships with these families, we really encourage you to go the second mile with them. The whole point of Breathe is to start to build a bridge into the church for these families and for them to know that we really care about them. We want to pursue them with Christ's love. And that means forming a meaningful personal relationship with them. So at the end of the evening, if you've had a great time with your kiddo, ask the parents, can I have your email address? Could I have your address to mail a postcard? Maybe I could attend one of the music recitals or a soccer game of your kiddo sometime. I think that would be really fun, and I would love to see him in his element that way. So what Breathe looks like is we hold it once a month on every month but December on a Friday evening from 6 to 9 p.m. And we set up a variety of rooms throughout the building. We have things like large motor rooms and small motor rooms. We have just games and crafts. We have a movie and a bounce house. And we also have a snack area that's set up in the atrium. We have also a sensory room and a quiet room, and I'll tell you more about those in just a minute because those are really important parts of our evening. The great thing is there's no agenda for the kids. They don't have to visit a certain number of areas, and they don't have to stay a certain amount of time. They can go anywhere they like for as long as they like, and that gives them a lot of freedom. At Breathe, we not only serve the child with a special need, but we serve any typical siblings that they may have as well, and that allows the family to sort of have a one-stop shop for babysitting and to not have to worry about calling a sitter for their typical sibling in addition to bringing their child with special needs to Breathe. Being a Breathe Buddy, there's a system when you come in. We ask that you arrive by 5:30 at the latest on the night of Breathe. And when you come, you can come to, there's a table outside the worship center that should have all of the name tags for the volunteers. Find your name tag, go on into the worship center, and you can sit in there until we start to make announcements that our guests have arrived. And sometimes they arrive as early as 5:45 or 5:50 because they're excited. The kids are excited to come and the parents are excited to have time away. So we should all be really ready to serve at 5:50. When you're in the worship center waiting for guests to arrive, you'll hear announcements of kids as they arrive. You match up with the buddy that you are assigned to or choose to serve, and there will be an information sheet about each of the kids at the registration table. We encourage you to stop by registration and pick that up. Even if it's in a hurry, you can pick it up, stick it in your pocket for later, and when you have a minute or two, you can read over that. That gives you all the information that the family has provided to the church about your kiddo and sort of what makes him tick. When you greet your guest, when you greet your guest, get down on their eye level and be quiet and calm. And just know that it can be really hard for some of the kids who visit Breathe to have a new situation or to meet a new person. So just be assertive but calm with them, and know that some things like smells or lights or sounds or even touch can sometimes be really really challenging for these kids. Just know that it's nothing personal if they don't really warm up to you right away. It's just sort of the nature of the beast. So stick with it. It'll be worth it in the end. From the time that you greet your guest until the time that their parents pick them up at the end of the evening, you behave as if they are attached to you, as if they're a part of your body. You don't let them out of eyesight or even out of arm's reach, because they're quick and they're smart and they can get away from you before you know it. So on the other side of that, please don't be alone with your guest. That protects him or her. It protects you as a volunteer, and it protects the church. So if you're going into an area of the church where there aren't a lot of people, feel free to grab another team of buddy and guest and take them along with you. The same for diapering or bathroom. You can always grab a floating volunteer who is around the church. There's a diapering station that's available in the nursery, so if you happen to need that, you're welcome to use it along with all the supplies. And some of the kids, as I mentioned, will be sort of alarmed by new situations. So just hang in there with them, be patient, and just stick with it. They'll warm up to you eventually. Each of our guests at Breathe has a name tag on his or her back. It's a stick-on kind. And if on that name tag there's a round neon sticker, that would be your clue that your child has access to the sensory room. The sensory room is located in the fireplace room, and it's staffed with physical therapists, occupational therapists, and speech and language pathologists, people who are really familiar with serving really challenging kids and who have experience in doing that. All of the therapeutic equipment in the sensory room looks fun for most all of our guests, and all of our guests like to try to get in there, but we really need to keep it a therapeutic, really calm, soothing environment in there. So we would ask you to only go in there if your child has one of those green neon stickers. We also wanted you to know that we follow all the gluten-free, casein-free snacks and drinks are the only things that we serve at Breathe. A lot of families who have kids with special needs follow this sort of diet, and it helps them with behaviors and whatnot. So we like to honor that. And if you're asked by a parent, you can know that everything we serve on the night of Breathe is gluten-free and casein-free. As a Breathe Buddy, you'll be given a blue t-shirt. And we want you to know that medical people, including nurses and doctors, all have red t-shirts on for the evening. And people who are in security, who watch the entrances and exits of the building, are in a neon green t-shirt. So just so you know who's who. We also have people on site who can help with behavior issues. If your kiddo is showing some signs of behaviors that you're not sure exactly how to handle, we encourage you to come to the registration table and find one of our volunteers who is specially trained in behavior. They wear a different color of lanyard, and they're normally there and not paired up with a specific guest, so that they're free to float around and help serve kids who need it. And last but not least, if you would like to get community service hours for your time at Breathe, we encourage you to bring your form to the registration table, and we're happy to sign it for you at the end of the night. So if you have any questions, please feel free to come early the evening of Breathe, and we're happy to answer any questions you might have. So thank you so much for your service at Breathe. You'll be blessed more than you can imagine. It's so much fun, and we thank you for your service.